Did American Eagle just run an ad for eugenics?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
Totally just talking about denim, right? Just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman explaining how her good genes gave her personality and purity. I mean, are we really going to pretend that this isn't a little fashy-coded? Look, I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney personally wrote this ad to revive the Third Reich, but American Eagle absolutely knew what they were doing here. You don't get to drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster and expect people not to catch that reference. Good genes used to mean racial purity in fascist circles, and now it's just denim marketing. We are watching fascist aesthetics sneak back into pop culture through fashion ads, tradwife influencers, and yes, now blue jeans. If you think this was an innocent ad, you have not been paying attention.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. If you could, when you get in, like the video. We're going to be going for a little while today. So, this is still happening. People are still really upset about Sydney Sweeney's ad. And they are claiming that it is a return to racial purity amongst white people with the blonde hair and the blue eyes and the like. Maybe they don't get it because maybe they don't understand the implications of what they're saying. You are admitting that you believe that to be the case because when a black woman wears jeans in an ad, we don't see that being touted as some sort of purity claim. Beyonce, who that's not her natural hair color or skin color, she's made up to appear brighter. We're not asking why she's doing that. Is she also, and maybe it's just me, maybe she's also supporting white supremacy through this ad. I'd like to know. I'm asking these questions because I'm trying to get to the bottom of why people believe the way they believe. Right. Oh yeah, you know they're tripping, brother. What's going on, brother Caleb Collins? How you doing? You know they're tripping. That everything is a racist dog whistle to certain people, right? It just is. And you've got to come to grips with they see everything, right? They see everything through a racist lens, and so yeah. No one was saying anything about Beyonce's Levi's ad. And I think if we're being honest, Sydney Sweeney's ad is just her in her natural state. I don't believe she's bleached blonde her hair because you can tell that it's not fully blonde. It's just her in her natural state. Whereas Beyonce, this is actually more of an ascent to white supremacy. Because Beyonce, let's see. This is what, right? This is what she looked like. And this is what she looks like in this ad now. Right? Yeah. Right? And we don't... Did Sydney Sweeney say that those were the only good genes? because I have a little test that I would like to, once we get enough people in here, I would like, and welcome Depth Nos, I would like to run a little experiment if we can get enough people in here today. We'll see, because this isn't my normal topic. You know, if you don't put Trump in the title, then you won't get as many people coming in. All right, if I were to put this as Trump versus wokeism or anything about Epstein, then, you know, the numbers would skyrocket. But I want to have this conversation today because it's a, you know, it's a wacky Wednesday. All right. Now, so the claim is that, yes, she's saying that she has good genes. Is the claim also that anyone who doesn't have genes like hers doesn't have good genes? Was that the claim? Right? Was that the claim? Welcome, Riley. Helper, what's that? Urbex Dylan, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Yes. Right. Yeah, it really is. It's a double entendre. I mean, it has, you're right. It has dual meaning. And it was supposed to spark controversy. And it did. It's got, yeah, it got people into a tizzy. They're all up in their feels about the fact that she says that she has good genetics from her parents. I believe that I have good genetics too. Does that mean that I think that she doesn't? Can't multiple people have good genetics? And is she saying that the only good genetics are blonde hair and blue eyes? Right. That's what I'm saying. Because we're not white supremacists. See, Caleb, you and I actually aren't white supremacists. So we don't default to thinking that when Sydney Sweeney says that she has good genetics, that she's also saying that we don't have good genetics. Does LeBron James have good genetics? He's 6'8", 260 pounds, 50 pounds of muscle, mostly, very little fat. When he was at his athletic peak, looking at the rim like this when he jumped. Right? Yeah, right. Because we're not always looking for the victim route. We're not always looking for what's going on. Who else is in here? Let's see. JP Bad, welcome. Dylan, welcome. Jason Scott, welcome. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in. All right. Now blurt out, for my, yeah. Right, JP Bad, exactly. LeBron James, yeah. Right. He's great genetics. Great. I mean, this is insanity that she can't say that she has good genetics because it automatically means that everybody else has bad genetics. Unless you have blonde hair and blue eyes. Because that's what people are. They're taking it to that conclusion. That she is saying that she and only she, or people of her ilk and type, have great genetics. I mean, you telling me there wouldn't be white people today that would want to trade genetic places with LeBron James. Asian people that would want to trade genetics with LeBron James. Giannis Antetokounmpo. You telling me that there are no white people who would want to trade genetics with them? How about that the family in, and I'm gonna go to an extreme example, but there's this inbred family in West Virginia, all white. You telling me that tomorrow they wouldn't want LeBron James's genetics? That's the question. Because when you the only way you could take Sydney Sweeney's ad and turn it into a "this is white supremacy" is if you were a white supremacist. You have white supremacist ideology. Like this person here, she's going to have a full meltdown. Listen.
Yep, that got me too. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so blatant. I keep thinking that people just are not gonna believe us until we're hung out there, but then even then I feel like they'll be like, oh no. Kind of like they are with. Yep, that got me too.
I mean, just having an emotional breakdown, a meltdown, or whatever you want to call it. And that's a great question. Do they even wear American Eagle? Were these people shopping at American Eagle? Oh man, that would be some interesting. Let me see something. If old chat had some information for us. American Eagle. Oh man, customer dem. That would be amazing. All right, American Eagle Outfitters is Gen Z and young adults 15 to 25. They make up majority. 13 to 17, and the remainder is 25 to 40. Gender: female shoppers. Income: education, middle income households. Ethnicity: 57% white, 13% black, 12% Hispanic, 10% Asian, and 8% other. So videos like this
To American Eagle?
Oh, I can't go in there because I'm black.
Hey, you want to go to American Eagle?
Oh, I can't go in there because I'm black.
What was the probability of you going in there anyway? 57% of their clientele is white. What were the odds of you going in there before? You sell to your audience. Right? You sell to your audience. And so they've decided that she's now the face of white supremacy, eugenics, and the like. Right. And look, whether or not the ad was horribly written, it has gotten people, if the point of advertisement is to get people to buy the product or recognize the product or the brand, some people were wondering, or they were thinking, wow, American Eagle is still a thing? They still exist? Well, okay. Now we know, right? Now we know that they still exist. But that's wow. Yeah. Let me see this. Let me see. Levi. I don't know. What's going on, Roger Dodger? They're marketing to their, so let's see, 18 to 35, 20 to 35-year-old college students, right? Still older segments, 25 to 45. Levi's has skewed male, with making up 65% of their global sales. So that's Levi, right? The gender gap is narrowing. 30 to 45,000 US dollars a year. That's their customer income range. To some urban professionals, 65 to 120K among millennials. Among male users is 70% white, 13% black, 24% Hispanic, 5% Asian. Geographically, U.S. distribution leans moderately toward the South and the West and Midwest. And okay, so let's see, ethnicity, global reach. across North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America, with EU and Asia growth particularly strong. So, yeah. And a lot of these companies are trying to strategize growth, right? So from this video, they're trying to expand their market. But Bud Light, this brought back to remembrance this Bud Light executive, a vice president. She was trying to sell to a younger audience, and she came up with the idea of Dylan Mulvaney.
A really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super clear mandate. It's like, we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach.
Real man of genius. Bring them back. But this is what she came up with, right? This is what she came up with. Real men of genius is still iconic to this day. Mr. Podcast host, bow tie wearer. Look at you. Right. So this is what she came up with. Now look at the difference. American Eagle says we're gonna sell to the majority. She says we're gonna eliminate our base. Right? So, I mean, no, you know what's funny? Yes, I understand that black people are 13% of the population. That's why I asked him to do that, right? To show we buying all brands regardless. Exactly. But it's still their customer. Right. So when you see 13% of your demographic purchasing, 13% of the demographic, and they're also 13% of your purchasing demographic, you're probably right in the sweet spot. Unless you are specifically trying to target black people, then 13% of your demographic purchases being black people is actually pretty good. That's what I was noticing too. It's like, hey, this is 2 of them are 13%, and that's our population size. Wow, it seems like they're doing a pretty decent job. Yeah, regardless of what you think of Sydney, she sells to this culture. She sells. And if they're trying to sell, Baskin Robbins is using her. What else? Let me see. She just came up with this new one. I'm gonna blur it out because I don't want people to get. I don't want people's eyes to be right. But this is her in an ad.
The country out of it, dude.
Oh, let's hold on.
You can take the dude out of the country. You can't take the country out of it, dude.
Right. So hey, it's the hey dude ad, right? Okay, so Sydney Sweeney appears in new Hey Dude ad wearing a tight one-piece swimsuit and a cowboy hat. She's doubling down. She did I showed it yesterday. I brought it back. The Squatch deodorant. I use Squatch. I used it well before she started advertising it. My wife and I went to Baskin Robbins a couple of times, and we saw that they're using her for promotion. We've got American Eagle, now Hey Dude. The companies
I just want some money.
Just want some money. And if they think Sydney's going to help them get some money, that's what they're going to do. I don't plan on my daughters don't plan. Well, I don't plan on buying my daughters anything that Sydney Sweeney is promoting, because my daughters don't even know who she is. My daughters don't even know who Beyonce is. Right? We got to boycott ice cream now. Exactly. I know. I can't eat ice cream. Right? I never participated in those boycotts. Yeah. Right? And a lot of the problem is, again, this is where marketing has gone. Marketing uses logical fallacies like transfer, association, right? Oh, you should use this toothpaste because Steph Curry uses it. Well, Steph Curry's not a dentist. Why would I use a product because he uses it? Now, if it's basketball shoes or a basketball or a rim or something like that where he's an expert, yes. But if LeBron James uses a certain hair gel, that doesn't mean I need to use it. What if the type of hair grain that we have isn't the same and it won't work for me? Right? We may not have the same type of hair. Like there are different types of hair that need different types of moisture. I don't understand why we can't, right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You know what? These are always very funny comments to me. Because the assumption is that I saw his previous comment. I didn't. Right? That most people, like, this is how they're watching the video, right? They're watching it like this. And they see their comment, they type it, they press the button, and then they see it come up, and they're thinking, that's the most important comment. He's going to see it. He saw it. And if he doesn't answer it, he's not having a conversation with me. Yeah. I didn't even see the comment. But, they're so self-absorbed that they think that this live stream is about them. And I was like, what is he talking about? I guess he commented something up there that he thought I saw and was ignoring. Okay. I can't have conversations with everybody in the chat, right? Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, I didn't. That's what I'm saying. I didn't. All I saw was the one. I didn't even see that one. You can tell me what I saw. That's fine. He knows what I saw. Wow. These people, you can't make this up.
You can't make this up.
Yeah. So, but people are losing their minds. We even got famous people losing their minds, right? Yeah. We even got famous people losing their minds, right? Doja Cat, she's got something to say about old Sydney and the ad, right?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Now, what did Sydney say that was false? That genes are passed down from parent to child. What's wrong about that? Right? What's wrong about that? I pass down my genes to my children. My son is about to be taller than I am. That's a combination of my wife's genes and mine genes. He's about to turn 15 and he's close to 6 feet tall. Right? If he's not already 6 feet tall. He's about to pass me up. That's good genetics. We passed it down to him. I have several children that can hear pitches and know exactly what note's being played. That came from my wife's side. That's good genetics. My children happen to be very intelligent. That's good genetics from both my wife and I. I'm not seeing the problem. Now, if blonde hair and blue eyes are a trait that people find attractive and beautiful, why isn't it a good thing that you get that from? We were even reading a book, my daughter and I were reading a book. What is it? Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House in the Big Wood. Yeah, and Laura and Mary. Mary's the older sister, I think, and she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and Laura doesn't. Laura has sandy brown hair, right? But people during that time would always talk about how pretty Mary was because she had blonde hair and blue eyes. Because as a trait, it's appealing, right, to that demographic. And Laura was always hurt by that, but her dad had to take her on. Well, my hair's brown too, and I love you because you have brown hair like me. I pass my brown hair on to you, right? So of course I love your brown hair, right? As a dad, he did what dads are supposed to do: comfort his little daughter. Now, if I look at my daughters and say, "Oh wow, you guys don't have good genes because you don't have blonde hair and blue eyes." That's essentially what people want us to think that Sydney's trying to tell us. But my daughters have beautiful long hair. They have beautiful skin. They're very pretty. And they're intelligent and talented. And they're being told that. And it has nothing to do with them having blonde hair or blue eyes, because they won't have that because we didn't pass that on to them. Yes, that's what they hear, right? They're hearing in logical fallacies, right? They're hearing only blonde hair and blue eyes are aesthetically appealing. That's your problem, right? So let's do this. Since Brother Caleb brought it to that point, let's do a little exercise, and we're going to ask some questions. All right. So we're going to do this. All right. Good genes. Okay. Yes or no? Here we go. First one. All right. Naomi Campbell. Good genes? Yes or no? What do y'all say? Yes or no? Naomi Campbell. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? Good genes. Naomi Campbell. Good genes, huh? What do you think? We got this some interesting what do y'all think? Yes, right? Yes. We got yes. Easy yes. We got some heck yes. All right, there you go. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got let's look at this next one. I think this will be another easy one. All right. We're gonna go with old Halle Berry. Right? What do y'all think? Because again, they're saying that Sydney's saying that only blonde hair and blue eyes are good. But this is somebody say yes, right? Okay, so we got yeses, right? So this is what I'm saying. People recognize good genes in any race, right? Now, this one, okay, this was going to get y'all in trouble, right? If y'all say yes, I'm telling y'all this right now. Let's see. I think I spelled her name right. Hold on. Let's see. All right. So we're going to get Halle out the way. Hold on. Oh, wait. I went to the wrong. Let's go back. Sorry. I went to the wrong. Okay. This is the little exercise we're doing, y'all, because we got to make sure that we check this out just to see if everybody. All right. So we got Billie Eilish. What do y'all think? Yes or no? Right. What do y'all think? Now, I was going to put her on there too, Tom, but I didn't. But what do y'all think? I'm asking, so I want to know. Right? What do y'all think? Billie, because Billie got in trouble. And I'm gonna show y'all why I'm asking about Billy. Oh man, what is that Billy? Nah, some people said nah, yes, nah, right? Now, the reason why I knew that was gonna be mixed, but listen, this is now Billy's in trouble for this video. Okay. Right, she's being called a Nazi as well for this video. Right? All right, come on, Billy. Well, she was in Ireland, okay? And she said it's great to be around. As you all know, I'm Irish, and it's cool to come back here and see everyone that looks exactly like me. And she is being taken to the cleaners because now she and Sydney are both being accused of white supremacy. Right? So there are some people who just default to thinking that she has good genes because she's white. Is that what people are saying? Because she thinks that, yeah. So, but she's been excoriated online. Let me see this. Now, this is another one. Okay. What about this one? That's what's her name? Alexandra Daddario. Good genes, yes or no? I'm supposed to type it. Right? Hold on. All right. So, good genes, yes, no. What do y'all think? Okay, Frosty. All right. Okay, there you go. Right? And so we've seen on both ends of the spectrum people saying yes and no. Now, here's where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Okay? This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Here's another. You're going to have to think about this one for a second, right? All right? Watch this. Good genes? What do y'all think? Because genes are not always about physical appearance. It's also about intelligence. Exactly. People are always talking about genetics as though it's only physical. Right? This man's intellect was passed down to him by his parents. Now he worked on it and honed it, but what about this? That's Thomas Sowell. Right? So you're talking about, so she's destroying wokeism. She's actually right. Exactly. Genes is everything. And so why are people so fixated on the fact that Sydney is talking about her blue eyes or whatever, right? It's not all physical. Now, some people are going to say, what about this? What about this gentleman? What about his genes, right? Right? Cognitive abilities are passed down. There are certain people who, no matter how hard they work, will never reach certain academic heights because they don't have the mental capability to do so. There are some people who are savants in certain areas that will always supersede or surpass other people. Just like no matter what I did in my life, I would never be 6'8", 260 pounds. So the possibility of me doing what LeBron James has done in his life on the basketball court was never in play. ever. And that also goes for intellect. There are certain people that have a greater intellectual capacity than others. They grasp information quicker. They are able to process information quicker. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll reach certain heights, because if they don't put in the work, someone with a lazy person with 120 IQ and a extremely hard worker driven person with 110 IQ, right? It is all about the effort that you put in and how much work you're willing to put in order to be successful. So, but when we talk about genes, people are always fixated on the physical. So that's why I wanted to point out, like, well, people recognize beauty in all races and ethnicities. All of them. We saw that. People, Naomi Campbell, people like, heck yeah. Halle Berry, heck yeah, right? So these, and I purposefully chose a darker skinned black woman and a lighter skinned black woman, just to show you that beauty, just people recognize it. And I would say, if you would actually, who do you think is, if you were to rate them on a scale, I would say most people would rate Naomi Campbell and Halle Berry higher than Sydney Sweeney. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But she is destroying wokeism, right? Now, I'm going to switch to the next topic, because Sydney Sweeney is exhibiting more strength than this fella here. Okay, we're going to talk about old Joey Swoll. All right. Joey Swoll praises Hulk Hogan, gets minor pushback from black people, apologizes like a little, gets dragged even more. Sydney Sweeney pushes literal fascist propaganda, ushers a full race war, gets insane pushback by blacks and liberals. No apology, no given, right? So whereas Joey, he posts his tribute to Hulk Hogan, and everybody goes in on him right when Hulk dies. He said, rest in peace to a legend and one of my inspirations to start working out. Hulk Hogan, right? He does the same thing. Rest in peace. He'll never forget when he personally sent me this costume for Halloween, right? So and then he gets taken to task because, it's in vogue now to hate Hulk Hogan, right? Or it may have always been. But the liberal mob came for him and he succumbed to it. Whereas Sydney said, man, whatever. I ain't worried about y'all. Yeah. I ain't worried about y'all. Right. I ain't worried about y'all. Now, Joey goes online and, it was almost like he stood up for himself.
Listen, I can post Hulk Hogan if I want to. Just because somebody makes a mistake in their life doesn't mean that they haven't done good things. I don't know what he did, and he said something 20 years ago and apologized for it. If you're going to attack me, you better go after the colored athletes and the people that are black and minority that went and posted him as well. Okay, the man was nice to me. He made a mistake. I'm not God. People make mistakes in life. If you got a problem with that, look at yourself. There's not one single person in here that hasn't made a mistake in their life. So
racism is.
So now that's the Stitch. Okay, so I'm not gonna play the guy Stitch, but so he stands up for himself, and then the woke mob comes after him for using the word colored. Right? People are triggered by everything nowadays. My goodness. Right? That's it. They're gonna
put you all back
in chains, right? Any little thing. Right? So I don't want my kids to grow up in a racial jungle, but they voted for him. They voted for the racial jungle, and poor kids can be just as successful as white kids. That's what Joe said, and they still voted for him. So it's all, like, the selective outrage is insane, right? They're outraged. How dare you? This is what how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you? That's what they do every time. Every time something comes around that could possibly be considered racist, they're right there, right? They're right there. They're ready. Now, and then he offers an apology, which you never do, to the woke mob. Don't apologize to them, right? He apologizes.
I owe my followers, my community, and all of social media an apology. A few days ago, I reposted an old video of me in the gym wearing a Hulk Hogan Halloween costume on the day that he passed. Last night in my live stream, a lot of people expressed how upset and frustrated they were with me that I had posted that. Instead of listening and understanding like I should have, I became defensive and said that I was posting to celebrate the wrestling icon, the person that so many of us looked up to as kids, that we grew up with, that made us tear our shirts and take our vitamins and say our prayers. I didn't know to the extent of all the horrible things that he had done. Since last night, I have done a lot of research, talked to a few people, and learned all of the horrible, horrible things that man has done, which is way more than just making a mistake and being human. So because of that, I have taken the videos down, and I apologize to anybody that I offended. I am sorry. Also, during last night's live stream, I used the word colored instead of saying person of color, which is a very outdated, very offensive term. A few moments later, somebody educated me and told me that it wasn't okay to use that, which I immediately apologized to everyone and said I would never do that again. So once again, to anybody that I offended, I am sorry. You know, my whole page, my whole brand is based on holding people accountable and doing better. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't hold myself to the same standards. I am human, I am still growing, I am still learning, and I promise all of you, I will do better. I have nothing but love and kindness in my heart. I will continue to try to make the world a better place. And once again, to everybody, I apologize.
So now he's apologizing for Hulk Hogan's sins. You will never please these people. Never. That's why you shouldn't try. They have an arbitrary standard of morality, and they're not consistent in their own standards. My body, my choice, unless we want you to wear a mask and get a vaccine. Then it's your body, but our choice. Brother Derek Franklin says we still have way too many people that let white folks run around in their heads rent free. Brother, you talking that talk right now. That's what I'm talking about. We got it. Let me see something. I got to find something for you. Let's see. You got to do something. Here you go. Right there. Right, exactly. You can't atone for what Hulk Hogan did, or what's his name? I forget Hulk Hogan's real name. I forget it. Anyway, but if that man inspired you to start working out, you are well within your right to post about it. The man was nice to you, sent you an outfit, post all you want. The only problem that I see here is that he has allowed the woke mob to castigate him. They're never going to forgive him, and now he's lost his right-leaning followers because he bowed to the woke mob. And this is what Caleb is saying right here. Y'all need to get some of that in your life. No one can atone for your sins save Jesus. Yeah. Brother Derek Franklin again. What's going on? Yes. Never apologize, right, to the woke mob. Exactly. There's nothing you can say or do to earn their good graces. Reason being, their aim is to destroy anyone who doesn't agree with them. Brother, you talking that talk, and to that end. To that end. Hold on one second. Just so y'all recognize, this was recent. Brother Derek Franklin's Yes, brother Derek Franklin's comment here, straight up. This is the Cincinnati council person, Victoria Park, saying they beg for that beat down. I am grateful for the whole story. Someone says, you are on the city council and you make a statement like this. Don't apologize. When Black Twitter came after him, Joey Swoll should have been like, I don't care what y'all say. The liberal mob, so what? Specifically in 2025, when the tide is shifting and turning, there's no reason to bow to them anymore. There never was to begin with. That was the whole problem, was that people started bowing to them in the first place, which continue. So let me give you an example of why you shouldn't do that. The woke mob is like any immature or childish person or child. They're pushing the boundaries to see how much they can get away with. If you don't lay down the law with a firm hand at the outset and let them know that this will not be tolerated, then they're going to keep pushing the envelope more and more and more, right? Look at this J Buck. You do what you got to do. It's freedom of speech. Call me whatever you want to call me. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Like, do you guys not realize? Y'all realize that? Do you realize that word? I'm just right there.
You have no power here.
Right? Should we start policing speech now? So people can't use that word. I've been called that word by black people virtually my entire life growing up. So you telling me that I have to cower and change my beliefs because I might be called the N-word by someone? Oh no. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people think that that's going to change my. Well, you think that if the world, there's a world where you might be called the N-word, if we can get rid of everyone calling anyone the N-word, we could. Wouldn't you want that world? That's how you get the Brave New World. That's how you get 1984. That's how totalitarians think. Let's get rid of all hurtful words so nobody feels bad. Thank you. Right, thank you. Thank you. Right. So it's only derogatory when it comes out of the mouth of a white person. So the word has more power coming from white people. Do you realize what you're saying right now? That white people have more power. You're a white supremacist. Well, all right, so let's do a couple of funny things before we move to RFK, right? Right? If white people, if the word has more power coming from white people, right? I don't know if maybe you didn't follow the logic, but you believe that the word is more powerful when it comes from white people, right? Is that what you believe? You believe that, right? that has more power to harm when it comes from a white person. Because when black people say it to other black people, it doesn't matter. Because black people have been angry and called me that word a lot when I was growing up. And it was in anger. It was done in anger. How is it more hateful? How is it more hateful? How do you know that? How do you measure the hate that comes from the word? Because I've had people who hate me call me that word. How do you measure the hate? You have a hate-o-meter? How are you measuring it? Because I've had hateful black people call me that word. I've had hateful black people come into these comments calling me that word, calling me all kinds of names. How do you measure the hate? Where's your hateometer? Y'all just say stuff and just believe that it's true because you've given up all objectivity. Oh, we still slaves? Oh, I ain't know, my bad. I forgot. Biden did say that.
They'll put you all back in chains.
I forgot. We still slaves. I forgot. My bad. My bad. My bad. Okay. We're still slaves. Right? Because we're still under slavery. So it still has the same power. You're right. They own us. You're right. You're right.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Gotcha. All right. We're going to do something a little funny. Let's see. We're going to do this. Let's do this. Here we go. All right. Yeah, we're going to do this. Oh, the WNBA has been having something. Before we move to RFK.
And you ain't black.
Oh, wait. I just did the thing again. All right. Going to do something. All right. We'll do something with the WNBA. Now, so many of you, have you been paying attention? I don't know if you've been paying attention to the WNBA. I don't know who really does. I don't. But I do get these in my feed because they're funny. And yeah. So you get to see this player's wig get pulled off in the middle of the game. And, you know, she has to put it back on and run. She has to run back to the locker room. And then a fan was ejected because he made fun of the situation, right? Yep. Right? All right. Now, so you've got that situation going on, and you've also got this one. Now, I'm going to blur this out. But someone threw an object that you get from where's the WNBA filings? I thought I put that up there. Yes. Someone threw a green object onto the court that is not PG. And the WNBA cameras, they spotlighted it. If you're talking about camera work, that's probably the thing that you're not supposed to do. As a cameraman, right? You're not supposed to zoom in on, or if you're the producer, don't go to that camera, right? If that's camera 6 and camera 6 is zoomed in, you can record it, but don't put it on the live feed, right? So even right now, I've got monitor here, monitor here, monitor here, and a monitor here. There's things over here that I don't want you all to see. And things here that you can't see. This is the control center, the control panel. It was starts with a D and ends with an ildo. Okay. On the court. And they don't pan away. They zoom in on it. The green thing that you see there is it with shoes around it. And this is a family program. Like, young girls are watching this. Talk about nonsense. I mean, they can't even get out of their own way. So I took the blur off because I did. Oh But wow. Now we're going to talk a little bit about RFK, because I've been wanting to talk about him for a while, but I haven't been able to because of because we've been highlighting a lot of different things, a lot of other different things with the Trump administration. I'm going to get rid of some of these tabs. Okay. Yeah. But there's so much good stuff that he's been doing that I want to talk about. And I'm going to spend like the last 30 minutes just on him. Okay. He's talking about this sinister industry that is growing right underneath our noses. Just let's listen in. I mean, I like what this guy's doing. I like it.
And what we're determined to do is to avert a fourth wave of addiction. You know, I became an addict because it was so available, but I still had to go to Harlem, or I had to go to the South Bronx, or I had to go to the Lower East Side. And now you can go to any gas station. And the people who are marketing these drugs, we were met at with Pam Bondi yesterday talking about this issue, and with these people from the DEA. And they showed us maps of the places where the vape shops and the smoke shops where this stuff is being sold. And they're around military reservations in our country. And there's, you know, the DEA has done measurements of urine in our troops, and they're skyrocket. The more it's directly correlated to the number of vape shops in their area. They're putting them around schools, they're putting them in our poorest neighborhoods, and now they're putting them in every gas station. And they're marketed for children. They're gummy bears. They're bright colors. They're candy flavored. This is really a sinister industry.
And you see, they're targeting minority neighborhoods, military bases, and the like. The gummy and kids, gummy flavors, bright candies, bright colored candies. You know, it looks really appealing. Legal opioid, right? They're testing the military bases, and the amount skyrocket, because now they put them in gas stations. They put them all around military bases. They're targeting our next generation with these opioids. Right? Oh yeah, the producer should be fired for that. Yeah. Yes. Should be fired for that. I don't know why. And again, there's, yeah. Let's see. I'm looking for something that I posted recently. Hold on one second. Let's see. Where is it? That's not it. Let me search. No. I'm going to play this next video. But I like the fact that he's going after all of these sinister businesses that want to destroy the American people.
Yeah, and you know, Larry, when we came in 6 months ago, and we said we're going to get rid of the 9 petroleum-based synthetic dyes that are in our food that cause ADHD, that are associated with cancers and all kinds of a grim inventory of other health injuries, people laughed and they said we'd never be able to do it. But what happened today, which is the dairy industry, has now made a commitment to get rid of all dyes by the end of 2026. And some of them are already taking action. Some of them already gotten rid of the dyes. We now have, with this contribution, with this commitment, we now have about 40% of the food industry that's already made that commitment. And 35% of the food industry had already gotten rid of the dyes. So we're very proud of this public-private partnership. I'm very grateful for our partnership with Brooke and with our partnership with the industry. We cannot make America healthy again without the cooperation of the American farmers and American industry, and they are stepping up to the plate, and we're very grateful to them. There's urgency, and FDA also is stepping up to the plate. We've already approved fast track and approved in the last 2 months 3 new vegetable-based dyes. Today we approved a new vegetable-based dye, blue dye. So, we're going to make sure that these companies and this industry has the supply chain so that they're able to get the products that they need to continue to meet the needs of their consumers, but in a way that keeps our children healthy.
Right. And so we want to see this happen. Right. This is extremely important, that these industries have been poisoning us for generations, that we're actually seeing a lot of health problems because of the dyes and the petroleum-based additives to the food. 40% of the food industry is now pledged to remove petroleum-based synthetic dyes by 2026. 35% already did. So we need to keep working until it's 100%. Right? These dyes linked to ADHD and cancer are still in ice cream, Kennedy warns, but the FDA is now fast-tracking veggie-based alternatives. This is a full-scale public-private push to reclaim health, dignity, and responsibility. And RFK is stepping on the gas. Right? So if you want to know, right? Let's see. If you want to know why this is so important, right? Yep, exactly. They're not allowed in other countries. Exactly. But this is a long form video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But a leaked internal memo has blown the lid off of Big Pharma's $2 million plot to force RFK out as HHS secretary. Okay? They want him out. Why? And this was in July. They want him out early July. Narrative control. It's a plot to get him out. Why? Because if he can be successful in his stated goals, a healthier America means less money for Big Pharma. It's really as simple as that. If you don't have the magic pill that solves our obesity problems or heart disease or everything, all these other problems that are solved by that are caused by what you're ingesting. If Big Pharma doesn't have that, what do they have? They're not in the wellness business. Right? Appreciate you. Right? You would. Thank you. I appreciate you. You remember those days, huh? Boy. Ooh-wee. Ooh, that was almost 12 years ago. Man. And those Periscope were just me sitting around talking. But yes, thank you for thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. So, I mean, the technology's gotten a lot better too. So, but yeah, and you got to put in the money to make the money, right? That's what they say. They say I'm grifting, so right.
I just want some money.
That's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, we've seen. I mean, and he's not just attacking this, right? He's attacking so many important areas that parents care about that we should actually care. And the thing that he's doing, right, that I love the most is that he's willing to ask the question. Too many times people are being silenced and they're saying, don't even dare to ask the question. How dare you, you heretic? Don't ask the question. Well, he's openly asking questions.
The school shootings in this country, the mass shootings are unacceptable. And we need to be investigating why they're happening in this country. Why are we alone? Why is that happening? Why did it never happen before? Two of the culprits that ought to be investigated, I'm not saying that we know this, but one is SSRIs, the widespread use of this class of psychiatric drugs that has a black box label on it saying may cause homicidal and suicidal behavior. And we now have a large part of the American population on those. NIH, the National Institute of Health, ought to be studying why is it that Switzerland, which has comparable levels of guns, has not had a mass shooting in 21 years, and we have one every 21 hours. Why is that? That is, when I was a kid, kids my age were bringing their rifles to schools for shooting clubs. Nobody ever blinked at that. Nobody ever started shooting at other children in the schools. It just had never happened before. This is unique in human history, and we need to be studying that. Since 1996, NIH has had a policy not to study the etiology of the origins of gun violence, and I'm going to change that.
Right. And again, I'm not an advocate for gun control, but if there are drugs that are causing people to have homicidal and suicidal thoughts, and those drugs are being given to people who are committing these shootings, should we possibly look for a link? That's the question. Am I an expert researcher? No. But anyone can ask the questions, and anyone with common sense can say, okay, well, what's happening in our country? Switzerland has the same amount of guns per capita, but they don't have this problem. What's the difference? That's the control group. Okay, so let's do some experiments over here to see if what's different about our people. And it's just research which leads to conclusions. But if you have people saying, don't you dare do the research, then that's the problem. How dare you look into it? Right? And we're grateful that people like RFK are willing to ask the questions. And more people are asking questions, inconvenient questions. Like Matt Walsh, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, RFK. These people are asking inconvenient questions because the establishment doesn't like those types of questions being asked. Business as usual. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. If someone wants to ingest poison in their body, that is perfectly fine. But what shouldn't happen is we be forced to ingest it against our knowledge because of some bureaucrats in Washington mandating that it's cheaper to grow this because they subsidize certain things as opposed to others. That's what we want discovered. If people want to do petroleum-based additives and dyes, fine. But the rest of us, well, I don't buy that type of stuff, but I purposefully look for the things that don't have that in there. But you should actually have the choice to not do it. And if these things if they're poisonous, why are we allowing companies to poison us, to keep us sick? Why is Big Pharma allowed to dictate what's being placed in our food? Why do they have a hand in that when they're also the people that have the cure for it? That's the problem. That's the link that we're trying to establish. That's what we want people like RFK to find out for us, because he's in the administration now. Because this is killing people. Generations of young people have been lost to, and then here we go, because we're about to talk about it, right? This is the next one where everybody's about to, I know what's coming. Exactly. The longer they keep you sick, the more, exactly, the more you need them. Pharmakia, right? Greek word. All right. So let's listen in to RFK talking to Chris Cuomo. I might blur this. So no, well, I don't think News Nation is going to.
But one answer is, well, Bobby, the reason we get a lot more now is because everything gets a diagnosis these days. Every kid has at least 2 diagnoses for what we used to just call behavior. So now they're putting all these kids on the autism spectrum because that is that is kind of like the fashion of the moment. That's the answer to why we're seeing more. Do you accept that?
No, that is nonsense. It is an absurd, industry-driven canard. There's been study after study after study in high gravitas journals by the best research organizations and institutions and universities around this country that shows that the autism epidemic is real. And Chris, it's also just common sense. If it was just a matter of better diagnosis or better recognition, you would see it in older people. You don't. The epidemic is taking place in a specific generation, and it's kids who were born after 1989. That's where you see it. You don't see, it's not, you don't see autism. 1 in every 31 people my age. I have never seen somebody my age, 71 years old, with full-blown autism. That means profound autism. That means nonverbal, non-toilet trained, head banging, stimming, the stereotypical features of the disease. You don't see that. And these are not people who are locked in some institution somewhere. There are no places for people like that.
Right.
And so why, if it was anything other than an epidemic, why would you only see it in a single generation?
Right. That's a fair point.
Okay. And so he's coming after pretty much everything. Let me make sure. Okay. He's coming after pretty much everything. But that's what we want. That's why Trump partnered with him. He has a specific lane that he's going to travel, and he's going to try to unravel as much of it as he can. And that's what we want. That's what we want. Now, I'm going to really, this is exactly what he was hired to do. So Trump lays out what he expects of him, and he's doing it. All right. So let's listen in.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's really doing it. Bro. He's great, and he's a little different, right? We needed somebody different. Autism. You go back, I guess, 18 years, 10,000. Think of this: out of 10,000 people, okay, 10,000 people, and I'll go a little different way. Right now, out of 10,000 people, 18 people don't have. They're safe. 18 people. We have a statistic on autism that's the worst I've ever seen, and he's going to change it. He's going to change it. It used to be 20 years ago you just didn't have it, and now it's numbers that are unbelievable, where the numbers are so bad it's got to be artificially induced, and we're going to find out what it is, and when. We're going to find it out as soon as possible.
All right. So that's his mandate, and that's his job, and he's going about doing his job. Now, I'm going to close out with this because I know this will probably really make you guys happy. Wait, that's the wrong one. I've clicked the wrong one. There you go. Is it that one? They're right next to each other. The links. Here it is. There you go. All right. So let's listen to, we might not listen to the entire clip, but some of you are really going to love this one. Okay.
President Trump does that. Whatever you think about him, there's a new feeling in America now that, we're back on the upswing again. As he says, the country is hot again, and all around the world, people see that too. And, a lot of things have surprised me about the president because I, bought into this fact that he was this one-dimensional character, that he was kind of a bombastic narcissist and all this. And, and part of it is hearing it all the time on TV, but also, the way that he conducts himself sometimes validates those. If you have that narrative, you can find things in what he does that validate that narrative. But what I've been surprised in getting to know him is what a kind of deep, multidimensional and thoughtful character he is, and how well. I also thought, he doesn't read, and he's not interested in anything. He's immensely curious, inquisitive, and immensely knowledgeable. He's encyclopedic in certain areas that you wouldn't expect, like music, and he gets very emotional about music, and
yes.
and he knows the whole story behind every song.
Pavarotti and James Brown.
Yeah, he cries when he hears Pavarotti. He said to me one night when we were at Mar-a-Lago with the Amarillas, he said, Amarillas, you understand this because she loves music too. And he said, but most of the people here, they don't understand it. They don't get it. And then in terms of sports, he's an encyclopedia. He knows everything. And then, on Wall Street, he knows how everybody made their money and the stories. And he's, an incredible raconteur about telling all these stories. And then, and also the most surprising thing is because I had him pegged as a narcissist, but narcissists are incapable of empathy, and he's one of the most empathetic people that I've met. You notice whenever he talks about the Ukraine war,
yes,
he always talks about the casualties on both sides. Every time he talks about it.
I have noticed that.
And he does that in every theater. He talks about how human beings are affected by it, whether it's vaccines or Medicaid or Medicare. He's always thinking about how this impacts the little guy. And, the Democrats have him pegged as a guy who's sort of sitting, in the cabinet meeting talking about how can we make billionaires richer. He's the opposite of that. He's a genuine populist.
That was for you all, right there. See, RFK says Trump is thinking about you guys. He's thinking about you, right? You, right there, you. He's thinking about he's a populist, right? He's thinking about you guys. I knew that y'all were gonna love that. I knew that was gonna. Oh, not a gotcha moment at all, right? But I knew it was gonna make y'all. Oh, I knew what comments were gonna come from it. Oh, right. I know they always, yeah. Yes, indeed. All right, I think that's everything that I had in here. I had a couple of other things from yesterday's show. Oh, look at this, guys. Look at this. Before we, yeah. But RFK, he doesn't. Yeah. He's been with the man personally, and that's his opinion of him. You may disagree with him. I mean, it's an opinion. I know. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh no, I say it. I say it, Preston. I say it specifically for people like you, right? Keep commenting.
I just want some money.
You helping me. I've had the most lucrative month I've ever had because of people like you. Thank you. Your comments continue to help the channel to grow. Over 5,000 subscribers plus this month. Thanks, man. You supporting the grift. All right, so let's look at this. Some interesting things that just thought would have some interesting, right? What 2016 would have looked like if just women voted. Clinton would have won. Scary thought, huh? This is the 2018 midterms. Thank you for subscribing, Rizza. What if only men voted in the midterms? 2020. What if one if men voted and one if women voted? Can you guess which is which? Can you guess? Maybe not. Maybe there's no hint. I'm just posting information. I'll let you decide what to do with it. If only women voted in 2024.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
That's what we would have had. 413 to 122. This is what the country would look like generally. This is if I think this one's a joke though. But it said this is a map if only single women could not vote. Maybe this is a joke. I don't know. It might not be a joke. It might not be a joke because it looks like from an actual site. And the reason why this is making the rounds again is because of the Texas redistricting. Let me put this back on. Right. The redistricting map in Texas, 5 Democratic seats eliminated, right? And so everybody's up in arms about gerrymandering and the like, right? People are coming in and asking me, you know what gerrymandering is? I'm like, yeah, I took 8th grade civics. I know most of the education system has produced fools, but those of us that grew up in the 70s and the 80s, when we still had to work for our grades for the most part, we actually remember some of the stuff that we, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we actually had to work for our grades, right? So the 5 Democratic seats eliminated, and people are excited about that. Because a lot of what's been happening, right? People will say people don't like it when the redistricting hurts their party. That's generally all it's about. It's not about fairness. People aren't interested in fairness for the most part. They want their party to be the dominant. So whenever you hear someone talking about the fact that, gerrymandering does this and does that, all they are saying is that their side won't win. They don't like redistricting. They wouldn't mind it. They wouldn't mind if all the redistricting benefited their favorite party. If the redistricting that Texas engaged in added 5 Democratic seats, you wouldn't hear a word from the left. Now you'd probably hear some from the right. Right? So they got rid of 5 Democratic seats. If this passes, you won't hear anything. The right is going to be like, heck yeah, we got it. Hey, right? They're this in wokeness. They're like, yeah. If it was the other way around, then they would be crying foul. Right? What do they say? 2 wings of the same bird. Right? You can figure out the response, the partisan response. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to head out. All right. Now, until next time, thank you to everybody that liked, commented, and subscribed to this live stream. I know it wasn't as hotly contested as some of the other ones, but that's because I didn't use Trump. I specifically didn't use Trump in the title or in the thumbnail. So I know it gets views, but I wanted to have this discussion anyway, because we did 2 lives yesterday. We got views yesterday. Now, we'll come back tomorrow with our regularly scheduled program where everybody gets to come in and bash Trump. I mean, they find a way to do it anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. They're going to come in. That's what the trolls do. Thank you to everybody that engaged, whether positively or negatively, the pushback, right? And the amens, the chorus from the people who agree. Until next time, be on the alert, stand firm in the faith, act like men. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, support, do all that stuff too, right? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, here you go. You can join, you do that, do that, do that, do that. There you go. All right. Until next time, be on the alert, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. See y'all around. Bye.